Hi, my name is Advanced Warfare, and I'm going to be telling you the truth about Chuck E. Cheese. So, there's going to be a little bit of a voice change. I'll explain that in another video, but just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
My parents didn't want me going out anywhere, and most parents kept their children indoors at all times. I was the sixth missing teenager that month. It was in the paper, on the news, it was everywhere. They all seemed to be either 16 or 17 years old. I came from a small town in Pennsylvania, but these disappearances brought a lot of attention to our town. However, these reports didn't stop me from going out to look for a job. I lived about 10 minutes away walking distance from a big strip mall that had a Chuck E. Cheese in it, and when I was applying to some stores in that strip mall, I noticed that the Chuck E. Cheese had a help wanted sign on the door, so I went in to apply. I asked the employee standing by the entrance for a job application, and without responding, he called for a manager. A man, probably in his late 40s, walked to me and greeted me, immediately asking when I could start. He didn't even interview or talk with me, he just basically offered me the job right away. This shocked me because I had never heard of a job that didn't require some kind of interview. I told him I could start work immediately. The man told me to come back the next day to be trained and to receive the employee uniform. I left the place so excited I didn't even think about how weird it was. I had just gotten a job. Now I could save up for a car before school starts. It wasn't until I got back home that I started to realize how strange it was that I was spontaneously offered a job with no interviewing. They basically just hired a complete stranger. How did they know if I was qualified or able to do the job? I imagined that they were just really short-staffed and decided to just be happy I got the job. That night, I did some research on what I would most likely be doing as my job. I found out that most new employees would either be cleaning up or dressing as the Chuck E. Cheese mascot. Ugh, great, I thought. I really didn't want to have to walk around in that thing. I went back the next day around 4 o'clock. The manager greeted me and gave me a red shirt with the Chuck E. Cheese logo. He then proceeded to show me what it was I would be doing, which was cleaning tables, sweeping floors, and cleaning and maintaining the robotic mascots. I was relieved that he didn't mention dressing in the Chucky costume, but I didn't understand what he meant by maintaining the robotic mascots. I asked him what he meant by that, and he explained that sometimes the animatronics get quirky, particularly Chucky. He explained that sometimes, even in their idle states, the animatronics get overheated and need to be cooled down, or they might break or glitch. So my job was to prevent that by spraying the fur of the robots with a bottle containing some kind of liquid, probably water. Somehow that would cool down the animatronics or something. I didn't see how that made sense, but I didn't question it. It seemed easy enough. After showing me all of this, the manager asked me if I was ready to start working today. I was shocked, but I was anxious to make money, so I told him yes. It was only then that he finally introduced himself as John and asked me for my name. After I introduced myself, he seemed in a hurry to leave. Before I stopped him and asked him if he needed my personal information and worker's card since I was only 17, he chuckled and responded, "Don't worry about that, bud. This job is off the books." I asked him what I should start doing and when my shift ended. He told me to clean tables for now and to leave when instructed. After this, he stormed out of the building without even saying goodbye or good luck. I stood there, feeling awkward and extremely confused. What kind of job was this? Leave when instructed? How long were they going to keep me in here? And they didn't need any of my information? I got started cleaning tables and continued to do so for a while. It wasn't so bad so far. About an hour into my shift, an employee told me to go backstage and clean up the robots before their show. John the manager had showed me the stage earlier, and cleaning these furry robots seemed easy. I filled a bucket with soapy water and brought some paper towels over to the robots. They all seemed perfectly clean, just like I expected. Why would they get dirty in the first place? But I figured I should just do it anyway. I started with the character all the way on the right, the human one dressed like a chef. I rubbed a damp paper towel around its face. Not that it changed much. It looked just as clean afterwards. I repeated this process until I reached the Chucky robot, which was all the way on the left side. This one definitely seemed the most realistic, even to the point where it was really creepy. How could little kids find this shit entertaining? I couldn't understand it. Apart from all the other robots, the Chucky one actually seemed pretty dirty, particularly around the mouth. So I scrubbed around the robot's mouth with a damp paper towel. It was weird though, this robot was softer than the others. Just as I finished, the robot turned its head to me and opened its mouth. I jumped back and almost screamed out loud. I walked around to the other side of the robot to see if its head would follow me. It didn't. It seemed obvious to me right away that the Chucky robot was left on for some reason. I didn't really think much of it after that. After another hour of sitting in that room, I had to resume cleaning up tables and floors while the robots did their show. Besides that, it was a pretty easy and boring night. Eventually, an employee came and told me to go home. I think it was almost 9 o'clock when I left. On my way home, I felt kind of happy. I had found such an easy job so quickly. I didn't mind it at all. Most of the shift I had spent in that room watching those idle robots. At the end of the night, I fell asleep pretty quickly, but around 3 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of something coming from outside. It was incomprehensible at first, but pretty soon I could make it out to be a very high-pitched, creepy laughter. We lived on a really quiet road, and hardly ever was there somebody walking past our house. I felt a bit unnerved, but I got up to look out my window. I lifted the blinds up and peeked out the window. The streetlight outside provided enough light to see the side of my property along with the street and the woods across the street. I scanned the street looking to find anybody out there, but nobody. Just as I was about to get back in my bed, I noticed something across the street, by the edge of the woods. It was the silhouette of what seemed to be a big man. From where he was standing, the light didn't reveal any of his features. All I could see was the black figure facing my window. I pulled down the blind and jumped back into my bed. I almost wanted to tell my dad about it, but I didn't want to seem like a baby. What kind of fucking creep was standing out there like that? Whatever. They're out there and I'm in here, I thought. I tried to fall asleep, but for a whole hour, all I could think about was the figure I saw outside, and wondering if it was still out there. I finally got the courage to lift up my blinds and check again. He was gone. What a relief. I pulled the blinds back down, and after that, I fell asleep relatively quickly. The next day, I went back to work at around 4. It was weird. That day, when I got there, I noticed that a lot of the other employees were giving me odd stares, like I didn't belong or something. One employee came up to me and told me that I would be watching the animatronics all day. I didn't really have a problem with that, I just wondered why they would need someone to sit there for hours. All they were just robots. The first 2 hours of my shift went slow. None of the robots moved or overheated. I had already finished quote-unquote cleaning them, if I should even call it that, so I didn't have anything to do. I made a note to myself to bring some magazines or something to keep myself entertained the next day. There was no animatronics show that night. I guess they mainly did those for kids' birthday parties. I guess that's why they were all motionless that night. Anyway, sitting around these robots for hours with nothing to do, it gave me time to observe some things, like how the curtains were covered by some kind of electronically moving wall, and how 2 of the robots that were sitting down still managed to be the same height as the other robots that were standing up. I found them all to be creepy, but I found the Chucky robot to be the creepiest. I've never seen an animatronic that looked so real. It genuinely looked like some kind of giant mouse or rat, as stupid as that sounds. The way it was just facing the curtains with the creepy smile on its face, it made me a bit uneasy. Before I could examine it anymore, one of my superiors came behind the stage and told me to take my lunch break. I asked her what the point of my job was and pointed out that I hadn't done anything. Her response was, "Your job is more than meets the eye." What? What are you? Before I could finish my sentence, she walked away. This beyond confused me, and I just thought the girl was a straight-up weirdo. Why would I have reason to think otherwise? During my half-hour lunch, I got a 50% discount on all food from the place, which was nice. While I was eating, another employee, probably in his early 20s, walked up to me and, looking very spooked, said, "Get out of here, while you still can." Before I could respond, he walked quickly to the exit of the building before disappearing for me to never see him again. Wow, there sure are a lot of creeps working here, I thought to myself. But what can you expect, though, when they hire anybody that walks through their doors? When my break was over, well, technically my whole job was a break. I never did anything. But when my lunch break was over, I walked back to the backstage. But when I opened the door to enter, the Chucky robot was facing the door with a big smile on its face. I almost fell back from fear and shock, but curiosity made me instantly walk up to the robot and examine it. I thought it was turned off. I gave the robot a few knocks on the arms to see if it would react. The arms didn't even feel like they were made of plastic under the fur. It felt like I was knocking on an actual arm. The robot then turned to face me again. What the hell was up with this shit? This thing was so realistic, I didn't even want to be in that room anymore, let alone for 3 more hours. I thought for a second that maybe it was overheating and spazzing out, so I sprayed it with the bottle. This only made it more glitchy. Its mouth started to jerk up and down, and its eyes closed. A sickening squeaking sound erupted from the robot. Fuck, don't tell me I broke it, I thought. The motion stopped, and it opened its eyes again. I wasn't gonna try that again. I went to go sit back down and just try to ignore it. I wanted to get through the shift quickly without scaring myself too much. But when I sat down in the chair and looked up, the Chucky robot had yet again turned to face me. I didn't like this. They made this thing too realistic. I spent the next few hours sitting there uncomfortably with the robot's eyes watching me.
Get away from my girl.
I was thinking about what the girl had said. Your job is more than meets the eye? And that weird guy. Get out of here while you still can? What the fuck does that mean? Are they planning on killing me or something? I'm a stupid nerd. He's probably just trying to be an asshole. I checked my watch repeatedly, anxious to get out of there. I was waiting for somebody to come in and tell me that I could leave like the previous night, but nobody came in. It was 10 o'clock exactly, so I decided to just leave. I walked out the back door of the stage and left it open, in case somebody needed to get in there and turn off the robots. As I walked toward the exit of the building, I realized that there wasn't anyone in sight. Some lights had already been shut. I guess they closed pretty quickly. I was sure there was a manager somewhere closing up, so I felt it safe to leave. During my walk home, I reflected on the whole situation. How fast I was hired, how weird my job is, all the stares from the other employees, and the strange comments people are making about me.
Yeah, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment below. And yeah, this video was not mine. This goes out to Mr. Nightmare, link in the description. He's one of my favorite creepypasta YouTubers. I'm going to be doing a part 2 right after this one. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.